Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, John Pope, here to tell us about the brand new book that he co-authored called Building the Past, Saving Historic New Orleans. Welcome, Mr. John.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great to see you. Hello. Poppy Tooker, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, airing twice weekly on WWNO Radio. Hello, Miss Poppy.
Peggy.
Great to see you again. Making his Steppin Out debut, David Neff of the Weird Homes Tour, which takes place tomorrow. We'll hear more about that. Welcome, David. Hello.
Thanks for having me.
And the one and only Alan Mason of Crescent City Jewish News and TheaterCriticisms.com.
Has his own weird home, too.
His own weird home, right. But first up, Poppy.
Well, we have to start off with, the big restaurant buzz of the week. It's been the sale of Manali's. And then on top of that, Ray Brandt's, unfortunately, sad death today.
Who was buying it?
Exactly. And so anyway, people have said why, and that was the city's, well, almost in the whole nation, the second oldest continuously operating family-owned restaurant, which that designation disappeared as of Tuesday. There wasn't really a succession plan for the fifth generation, even though they all grew up working in the restaurant. And I think the fourth generation just decided they wanted to retire and go home. So the sale happened, and we'll just see what's going to happen over there. I hear there's going to be some extensive renovations, so the visuals may change, but as long as Carrie and Miss Bev are in the kitchen and Uptown Tea is shucking oysters, I imagine it's going to feel much like home to everybody. And I want all the viewers to consider how important it is for us to treasure our old family-owned food businesses. I think that the new second oldest continuously operating restaurant might be Mandina's, which even though it became a full-fledged restaurant in 1932, it actually sprung from a corner store which was opened by Sebastian Mandina in 1898. And then we've got the Brocados family going strong and now at the airport since 1905. And God bless Antoine. That's all I have to say. Way to go, Yvonne Blunt. Thank you for keeping that restaurant for us. And now we're going to go from the oldest to the newest. And one of the very newest is Junior's on Harrison. It's a new restaurant from Nick Huft and Lon Marchand with one of my favorite chefs, Jacob Curitin. It's the former location of Cava, which is right there on the corner of Harrison and Memphis. Only now they're utilizing both the upstairs and the downstairs space. It's really kind of a family restaurant downstairs with a lunch counter, and then upstairs there's a craft cocktail bar and even a veranda. I don't think that you've got that point of view anywhere else on Harrison. Yummy food, cheese curds with buttermilk ranch dressing, ceviche, steamed buns, steak frite, shrimp tacos, all very approachable. And what I understand is an incredible junior burger, which is a double stack blend of chuck brisket and short rib. Lots of yummy comfort food and great cocktails too. And speaking of comfort food and burgers, Company Burgers' Adam Biederman has invited his pal, Chef Brock Seabrook, to pop up his Daddy Hot Bird at the downtown Company Burger next Wednesday, November 20th. Daddy Hot Bird is a Nashville-style hot chicken with spice levels that are said to be out of this world, and they top out at Cluck Me Up, fam. It's said to be the hottest in the city. The menu's rounded out with comfort sides, and you can finish with homemade chocolate chip cookies and a glass of ice cold milk, which may just be the thing to cool that down. And then there's also special palate soothing cocktails and other beverages by Company Burgers Evan Wolf. And another one of everybody's favorites, Compare Le Pan, has the announcement of a new fixed price lunch.
Ooh.
Monday through Friday, 2 courses for just $30. And oh my goodness, how about beet and carrot salad or cold smoked tuna tartare, whipped ricotta with roasted apples, truffle honey, and pine nuts, marinated shrimp, and oh my goodness, pumpkin agnolotti with curry granola. Nina's food is so inventive. That Nina Compton. Snapper with roasted squash and Brussels sprouts. And oh, there's that theme again, a hot fire chicken sandwich with pickles. The a la carte menu is also available, and they have special in and out options. So you can tell them, I want to get in and out, or I'm having a leisurely lunch.
Thank you very much, Poppy.
Thanks, Peg.
And I have to say that tonight we have sort of an inadvertent architectural theme for the next few minutes. And first up, Mr. John Pope, so great to see you again. A long time, of course, fixture at the Times-Picayune, and kind of famous or infamous, well, for your obituaries. But we're really not talking about that per se, except on a few buildings. But this congratulations, we will be showing photos from the book. It is gorgeous. Okay, building on the past, and we should credit Susan Langenhenny and Danielle Del Sol, Preservation Resource Center folks, and Chris Granger, great photographer, for being very much a part of this book. But your focus, not surprisingly, was really on buildings that are no longer with us.
That was Susan's idea. It was to make people aware of what can happen if preservationists are not around to object, because so many good
before
buildings,
the PRC, before, you know, in a way, yes.
I mean, like the Delord Sarpy House, which had been sitting at the corner of what is now Andrew Higgins and Camp Street, moldering for decades until it was torn down to make way for the Camp Street down ramp. And then the original Temple Sinai, which is now a parking lot on Carondelet Street. It's behind where the old main library used to be on Lee Circle, which was a grand building that I remember from my childhood. It's now the K&B Plaza. No, the obituaries for departed buildings were Susan's idea, and it makes people with memories think.
Absolutely. Before we actually absolutely zero in on that, let me just say that this wonderful photo here is a house in the quarter, beautiful house, the Masson House, and has been lovingly preserved. And so you have many photos of houses present day. This was St. Peter and Paul Church, gorgeous here, and is now used as a public space. It's no longer in a hotel.
Well,
very nice
the cool
hotel.
thing about that one is Natalie Jordy and her partner spent $22 million on this property, which comprises the church, the convent, the rectory, and the school. And what Natalie did that was very smart was to meet across the street at the Houdat Cafe with neighbors to say, here's what we want to do. We want to get your input. We will not be invasive. We will not have loud guests or clamorous parties. And she ingratiated herself very smartly.
It's in the middle of Marigny for folks who haven't been
2100
there.
block of Burgundy Street.
And it fits in beautifully too. They've been very, very sensitive.
And you can go, and I remember going through the schoolhouse the first time, and there's this double staircase, and I remember standing at the base, and I can hear the voices. It's just, it's a magic place.
But John, back to, so what you have done are essays about some of these very revered buildings that are no longer, as you said, with us. But, you know, we all have our favorites, like the St. Charles Hotel, which is where Place St. Charles, which is now another name, but still.
I had my 8th grade graduation lunch there.
Really?
There used
I had
to
a
be
junior senior prom.
My parents got married there.
Really?
There used to be a ladies' entrance on Gravier Street in the tile. I'm not sure why. Protect ladies from the vicissitudes of travel, I don't know. And
the Southern Railway Station, where Simon Boulevard is.
And the only train station that Louis Sullivan ever built It's in front of, it used to be in front of where the Union Passenger Terminal is. And one of Louis Sullivan's assistants on the project was someone you may have heard of, Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, so you had the Sullivan building right near where the current train station is, but the Southern Railway was Daniel Burnham, wasn't it?
Yes, who did the Union Station in Washington, D.C. And when I wrote about it, I was thinking, that must have been quite an eyeful for incoming tourists for the first decade of its existence, because the train went right past Storyville, which is the legal red light district.
We have plenty of signings. I know this is what your umpteenth event of the week.
Another open, another show.
Yes, well, good for you, but we've got them, including this Saturday, huh?
Yes, Susan and Chris and I will be holding forth at Garden District Bookshop from 1 to 3 tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, wonderful. And then Thursday you'll be at Hazelnut, huh?
And I need to point out, sales of this coffee table book will underwrite future PRC publications.
Great, yes. And so you'll be at Hazelnut as well. Well, very good. And once again, let me just show you how beautiful this is. So well done. Congratulations. Glad to see you as always.
Thank you.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Carolyn Harris gave us the names of 2 college teams whose nickname is a color plus an aquatic term. The answer is Alabama Crimson Tide and Tulane Green Wave. That Julia was a very smart cookie. Now tonight's question. In honor of LSU playing Ole Miss tomorrow, what former Saints quarterback played his college ball at Ole Miss? And in what town is the university located? Gee, John Pope, I know you know that answer, but you'll have to restrain yourself. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prize is a year's subscription to Louisiana Life magazine, a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. We also have a pair of tickets, complimentary tickets to French Quarter Walking Tour, tickets courtesy of the Friends of the Cabildo, and their tours run daily and begin at the 1850 House, the museum store right there at 523 St. Anne. Go to friendsofthecabildo.org for more information. You know, you can go to wyes.org/steppinout for our online calendar, including the Beaujolais Nouveau Festival. At Celebration, fundraiser presented by the French American Chamber of Commerce on Thursday, and that, of course, is at 6:30 p.m. to 10 at the Degas House right there in Esplanade, featuring local cuisine and live music and a silent auction and much more. Tickets start at $60. Go to facc-gc.com for details. You can also link to WYES's YouTube channel to see our program. And speaking of tours, David, this is something you and your wife came up with, and it started in another city first, didn't it?
That's right.
This is the second annual here in New Orleans.
This is the third annual.
Third annual, excuse me, I'm a year behind. Okay.
Yeah, so we are in Austin, Detroit, New Orleans, San Francisco, and Portland.
Grown quickly, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, we're going to show some of the houses, but just give us an overview of what will happen tomorrow.
Sure. So in the same vein, very big on architecture, design, and art, and so you can imagine our tour kind of combines all of those things.
That was actually a jail, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was built in 1902 and has recently been renovated around 2008 into an inn. So people actually stay there, and there's a great couple that have painstakingly been restoring that for the past 3 years with kind of authentic furniture, materials from old police stations, just a ton of different stuff that they've kind of been scouring the internet and eBay and flea markets.
That is roughly an Esplanade Ridge for people who aren't familiar with that.
That's right. This is a yin to our yang. We have a museum of bad taste and a museum of good taste. And so this is Isabelle Jacquepin, who is in the French Quarter and one of the most famous parts of the French Quarter. And her entire apartment is just covered with art that she paints and sells, and just some beautiful, beautiful scenes of New Orleans life. This is the yang, or maybe the yin, depending on how you feel. This is Sam Malvaney, who runs the Museum of Bad Taste, which started with a Barbie doll lampshade and has kind of grown and grown. And now people bring him things like old cigarette machines that dispense art, chandeliers made of Barbie dolls, and everything you can possibly imagine in between. And Sam is a true character of the French Quarter and has been here for 20-something 30-something years. The next home you see is a great artist who took over a warehouse, and after Katrina really wanted to have a life kind of off the grid, and so has installed solar panels, is growing her own fruits and vegetables, and has really kind of decided to live a very unique and alternative life, but also selling, and she's kind of opening up her home, which is also a studio. She also has pigs, chickens, and dogs you can pet on the tour as well, which is fun.
Now, this is a self-guided tour, isn't it?
That's right. So you go to our website, weirdhomestour.com. You'll get a map, and you show up at a house. You get a wristband. You check in, and then you can kind of go to any of these houses in any order you want.
Okay, good. So that's the big thing, is that you get a map.
That's right.
And do this.
We've actually had the most homes in New Orleans we've ever had. So we have 11 weird homes this year.
That's a lot.
And it is. And it's a perfect way to explore New Orleans if you're new or if you've been here forever, just different parts that you might not have got to.
No, I understand it was your wife's idea, this
It was.
Weird Homes tour. Tell me.
So we lived in North Austin, Texas, and we saw a home that looked like the Alamo. We said, who lives there? To Pee Wee Herman's credit, is there a basement? What's the deal with that? And she said to me, well, we'll just go on the Weird Homes tour. We went home, and of course there was no such thing, and we're both very entrepreneurial. So we have our day jobs, and then we started this, and this is kind of our night job.
Well, congratulations once again, weirdhomes.com.
Yeah, that's right, weirdhomestour.com.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet.
Welcome. And now it's time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight we are featuring the work of New Orleans artist Barbara Brainerd, focusing on monotypes this time. Her show includes At Jefferson and Octavia and the Botanical Gardens. Her show will be on view at Cole Pratt Gallery on Magazine Street until November 30th. Visit colepratgallery.com for more info. Now, Alan.
Well, just a quick word, because next week I'm going to have a review on the world premiere of this new work by El Kelo Gao and Yotam Baum. It's titled Dark Nights the Musical. I'm just going to urge everybody. It's the first time that UNO has done a musical in 20 years, and it is an amazing work. Showtimes are on our calendar on WYES.org, and it'll include a matinee on Sunday. Don't miss it. It's something to behold. I'll talk about it next week. Now, on to congratulations to John Broder, who, with his terrific lineup, his team of performers and supporters, helped transform the Infringe Festival into a really magnificent 4 days and nights of 30 shows. One of these was cabaret performer Bremner Duthie, who sang many of his wife Lisa Pajol's songs of travel. Also particularly brilliant was local performer Carolyn Formey. You may remember her from the Patsy Cline, Always Patsy Cline show.
Yeah.
She played Louise. Anyway, she did Songs for the End of the World. Two visitors came in from New York, electric cellist Lorenzo Montana, who accompanied the poet Mario Moroni. And I stayed up late to see the iambic pentameter of the Shakespearean time used to tell John Hughes's immortal film, The Breakfast Club. Here's the cast of Ye Olde Breakfast Guild. Okay, that's right, the Guild. Finally, what would I consider the best show of the whole? This is it, right here. Jen Pagan's homage to food and sex, in which she talked about her love life while cooking a meal of pasta puttanesca and chocolate cake ganache, Poppy. And it was a ganache served with panache. Now, while much of the Infringe Festival took place along the St. Claude Avenue corridor, if you will, further up the avenue, the New Orleans Art Center was the place for See 'Em on Stage's new production of Cabaret. This is the updated 1998 racy version of Cabaret that John Kander and Fred Ebb would have liked to put on back in 1966. It's produced by Christopher Bentavenia. Callie Russell, who choreographed the show with Christopher, stars as Sally Bowles. She tears it up. She's every bit you'd expect, the brassy, sassy, and vulnerable victim of the Nazi era, if you will. Diminutive Clint Johnson is brilliant as the MC, a role he seems to have a lot playing well. He loves to fill that corset out as well as he can. And of course, Josiah Rogers, you see there, played the writer Cliff Bradshaw, who in this production is not only conflicted by his sexual preferences, but also as a person of color must deal with the Nazis and their idea of a master race. Finally, Margot Fanning, who you see there on the left, and Ken Good played Fraulein Schneider and her love interest, Jewish shop owner Herr Schultz, very tenderly and very well. A full band is on stage for this production, by the way. It even features Ken Good on saxophone during the scenes when he's not playing Herr Schultz. Cabaret runs through November the 24th. Now, if Cabaret crosses several gender lines, then the current production of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet takes one in only one direction, and that's the female direction. Mark Routhier will be leaving town soon, but he's directed this. He's going to be moving to Maine, but this is a fantastic cast, all female. Nicole Francis Miller, who I raved about last year in These Shining Lives last year, plays Romeo, and Jennifer Lepore plays, of course, Juliet. Shakespeare's words still ring true for this really beautiful tale of the star-crossed lovers, and the production is really quite nicely rendered. They have a design on the floor that is evocative of graffiti with the names Montagues and Capulets in a circle. The show concludes tomorrow night, by the way, in the Lower Depths Theater. By all means, do check it out. It's worth seeing. And now, of course, that Native Gardens is winding down at Southern Rep. Mark Broyard and Roger Governor Smith will be presenting Inside the Creole Mafia for 4 performances only next week, from November the 21st through the 23rd at 7:30, and then on November the 24th at 7 p.m. Note the difference in time, 7:30 for 3, and then the last performance will be at 7 p.m. And then one last thing I want to mention before we get to anything else, and that is that Audra McDonald, the 6-time Tony Award winner, will be appearing here in New Orleans at NOCA on Broadway, if you will. This is the Mark Cortali production. This time she'll be joined with her husband, Will Swenson, whose most famous role was Berger back in the 2009 revival of Hair. He was nominated for a Tony and a Drama Desk Award around the time that Audra was working on her 3rd Tony Award. And of course, the most winning awards by any Tony performer, playing all of the possibilities for a female performer, for a featured performer and leading actress, etc. She's won 6 of them.
Alan, I'm sure we could all sit around this table and come up with the most talented people we know in the performing arts, and I think Audra McDonald might be number 1.
She's amazing, and you know, the thing is, she effortlessly moves from drama into musical theater with just you know, a split-second timing, and she's good in everything she does, and a very nice lady too. She will, by the way, all the seats are gone for her VIP tours, but she will meet meet and greet kind of a thing after the show, and I will be there, thank goodness. But you know, it's a fantastic opportunity for her to actually intermingle with people who really are greatest fans down here. We really love her.
Yeah, and it's so nice that, I mean, what a chance to see her here. I mean, usually I have to go to New York.
I can say I've seen 3 of her Tony Award-winning performances.
Okay.
Dating back to Ragtime. So you know, I'm very pleased anytime I can meet her and tell her how much I enjoyed it.
Yes, and now time for our picks. John.
On December the 3rd, we'll be signing books at Octavia Books. Excuse me. And please do come out. Buy plenty of copies. Again, help preserve. I'm shamelessly huckstering.
And don't you have another book called something to do with Elysian Fields? Come on.
I'm still getting mileage out of Getting Off at Elysian Fields. It's my anthology of obituaries and funeral stories, which people still want to read. I'm dazzled by this. I'm still getting royalties.
All right, good deal. Yeah, Poppy.
It is perfect gumbo eating weather. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the Treme Creole Gumbo Fest is happening at Congo Square, along with the Congo Square Rhythms Festival. And don't forget, next Saturday, there's still tickets available for the Southern Repertory Theater benefit Poppy's Pop-Up Drag Brunch. Tickets are just $65 for 4 drag queens and bottomless mimosas.
Okay, and we have to, of course, mention just real briefly the Fromage de Fête, the Cheese Fest at the New Orleans Jazz Museum tomorrow too. But lots of stuff, right?
Yeah.
David.
I'll do 2 very quickly, of course, shamelessly plugging the Weird Homes Tour, which is Saturday, November 16th. Tickets start at $30 at weirdhomestour.com.
Right.
And I love to sweat and enjoy myself with some hot chicken, so I would also recommend the pop-up at Daddy's as well.
Okay, great. Also, though, if somebody wanted to travel and go to a Weird Homes Tour, remind us once again of the other cities.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Austin, Houston, we have Portland, Detroit, and San Francisco.
All right, great. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
Alan.
I would like to remind everybody the LPO is going to be playing the Mozart Requiem next Thursday and Saturday at the Orpheum, and they also will be unveiling a brand new piece of classical music which has never been heard before. So check that out first off. And then the second thing is there's a benefit performance for the Childhood Heart Defects program that they have for Rivertown's Raise Your Voice 2 Benefit Musical Review. That's going to be one night only on Sunday, November the 17th.
All right, great. And now time from my picks. In the Quarter at 415 Dauphine Street at May Bailey's Place on Saturday from 4:30 to 7. Tom Saunders and his band will be playing jazz from the 1920s. It's right next to the Dauphine Orleans Hotel. It's right near there, too. And the Love for Lou benefit and auction takes place this Tuesday at the Palm Court Jazz Cafe on Decatur Street from 7 to 10 p.m. General admission tickets are $25 cash and are only available out at the door. The attendees will enjoy a buffet and music by the Palm Court All-Stars, as well as special guests such as Kermit Ruffins. For $50 cash admission, you'll also receive a mystery bag with 3 CDs from local artists in addition to the concert and buffet. All funds raised will be going to covering musician Lucien Barberin's unmet needs as he is battling, so sad, stage 4 cancer. He's too young for that. I mean, anybody's too young for that. You can also donate online at GoFundMe.com /search Love for Lou on that website, and that's spelled L hyphen Lou, L-U. Also on Tuesday, Mickey Pfeffer will discuss and sign her book, A New Orleans Author in Mark Twain's Court. That's at 7 p.m. at the East Bank Regional Library, 4747 West Napoleon Avenue in Metairie. The New Orleans Ballet Association presents Palobolas in Shadowland, The New Adventure at the Mahalia Jackson Theater at 8 p.m. next Friday, the 22nd. The show uses mixed media, animation, dance, and shadow theater. Tickets start at $35. Go to nobadance.com to purchase and to learn more. And thank you all so very much for being here, and thank you very much for watching. Good night.
This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.